On the second of a back-to-back, and despite losing to the Kings while sitting the big three, I've been waiting to make a video on rookie Will Richard. After a solid summer league and preseason, Richard made his first NBA start and exploded for 30 points, looking like a seasoned vet, knocking down shots and making hustle plays. I want to break down and scout what looks like a second round steal for the Dubs, so let's get to it. Richard just won the national championship with Florida not too long ago, and already seems like he knows how to carve a role in the NBA as an off-ball guard who can knock down, catch, and shoot threes. Can he eventually become a star with this foundational skill set? Absolutely, but not right now in the Warriors system in my opinion. Post and Pods run a pick and roll, and Eubanks is playing a drop coverage while DeMar is fighting over the screen. Eubanks eventually calls for the switch, but Kings rookie Clifford is sitting with 2 feet just right outside the paint, attempting to tag the roll man in post. QB isn't really a big roll threat at all, but look at Richard on the weak side corner sliding up higher on the wing to make this a better passing angle for Pods. It's not like he was fully open here either, but the utter confidence to catch and rise up with the decent closeout and hand in his face. I love the decisiveness by Richard to knock down this triple. I noticed Richard made his offensive role simple for himself, either relocate for open catch and shoots, or cut to the rim for layups or second chance opportunities. Pinned down by Pods and the Kings play straight up. I have no idea why Westbrook decides to run and close out on a non-shooter in Kuminga, but you can see Richard on the weak side already sprinting to try and get the rebound. But now Sacramento is in rotations. Schroeder comes to help, swing past the Pods who attacks the closeout and drives baseline. Eubanks helps as a low man, but this kickout generates a 3-on-2 advantage on the weak side. DeMar has to go rotate to the first man, Clifford to the swing pass to Moody, and another extra pass by the Warriors gets a great look by Richard, who knocks the 3 down looking like a mini Jordan Poole out here. I just mentioned cutting off ball, right? Richard won't get plays run from him just yet, so playing with effort and hustle is also a skill as a rookie. Pods and Post run another pick and roll, Eubanks is in a drop with Clifford fighting over. The Kings switch again, but the second Pods picks up the ball, Richard sees that his man and Schroeder is ball watching, and almost makes a LeBron James type of slot cut, gets behind the defense and draws a foul for 2 free throws. Richard also has potential to be a menace on defense. Eubanks and Clifford run a pick and roll with Horford playing a drop and Moody playing over the screen. Richard is in the driving lane but makes a gamble here. In my opinion, you either have to commit to double teaming the ball handler or you have to make a stunt and get back to cover the shooter. But shout out Moody for disrupting the ball handler just enough for Richard to recognize the vulnerability, then pounce to double team. Great hands to get the steal and trail Moody all the way on the fast break. Here he gets another couple free throws for an effort play. The more I watch Richard, the more I see these timely slot cuts. Pods and Santos run a dribble handoff, but the Kings miscommunicate here after Keon Ellis falls down, not sure whether they are switching or not. Pods pick up his dribble super surprised at this open coverage, freezing the entire Sacramento defense, but look at Richard's slot cutting from the weak side. Malik Monk is fully sleeping on defense while Pods gets a good look on the baseline. His teardrop does not fall, but look who's there. Richard's slot cutting gives him an open lane to crash the boards as well and tip in a second chance bucket, another huge effort play by the rookie. The amount of times opposing defenders forgot about him off ball was comical. On a simple Jonathan Kuminga in and out dribble move, then spin, the Kings are deciding not to help. This might be intentional, but look at Richard on the weak side corner timing his baseline cut. The second known off-ball menace, Russell Westbrook, turns his attention back to JK. Once Kuminga looks like he's about to attack the basket, perfect dump-off pass to the cutting Richard for a reverse layup. The pure effort of even crashing the boards increases the possibility of getting a tip or being in the right position for a putback. Post shoots a not so great shot, but on the weak side you already have Richard making himself useful for an offensive rebound. Even though the ball does not bounce to him, Moses gets the board and Richard is already in the right place at the right time for an uncontested layup. Keep making these plays. The rookie also seemed to have a knack for creating good spacing. Podziemski hits Eubanks on the perimeter with a shimmy jab move and drives left into the middle of the court. Clifford sits in the restricted area about to help, and DeMar is focused on post in the dunker spot. Again, Richard makes it easy for the passer by shuffling up higher towards the wing, which not only makes a better angle, but also a slightly longer closeout for DeRozan. On top of that, Richard has a supremely quick release without much of a dip, and he launches a triple with confidence and gets a 4-point play call after DeMar high-fives his hand after. He really looks like Jordan Poole right there. The Kings kept sleeping on Richard and his hustle, including other known off-ball defender Malik Monk. Golden State runs a split action which works extremely well for defenders that do not switch off-ball screens. I have no idea why Pods thinks he's Steph Curry shooting an off-balance three that makes me cringe. But look at Will Richard running from the weak side knowing Monk is not boxing him out. The hardest offensive rebound to grab is an air ball, but Richard reads this so well and goes to the baseline to get better positioning and steal this loose ball and draws another 2 free throws. The third quarter was a mess when the Warriors got into foul trouble. We have a pistol action on the strong side where Pod sets a down screen while Jackson Davis simultaneously runs a dribble handoff with Moody. Since Sacramento is not switching, Moody decides to heat check and stop in his tracks to launch a deep 3 after 2 defenders come to contest. The rookie Richard repeatedly makes his impact felt by sensing those long rebounds come from long shots. He does not get boxed out again and grabs offensive rebound, finds an open TJD for an easy putback right at the rim. Richard also seemed to make the extra pass in order to keep the ball moving in the Warriors' offensive system. Moody and JK run a pick and roll and the Kings switch. Moses was the only other player who had a hot shooting night, focus on him taking advantage on the slower Eubanks and running along the baseline. Swing pass to Richard who looks at the strong side corner right away, where Jackson Davis is setting an exit screen on the big man. The Kings do not communicate and Moses Moody gets a wide open corner 3. The Dubs came sprinting back from a barrage of threes by Moody and Richard. Off a defensive stop, we have a 5-on-4 fast break. Kings rookie Raynaud is focused on Horford, so Richard simply spots up on the right wing for a quick trigger 3. I know I'm repeating myself, but I swear he looks just like Jordan Poole. If Will Richard can keep launching and master these fast break 3s, he's going to be a Warrior for a long time. Pods is running the break and the Dubs have an advantage on the left side. Drew Eubanks is going to be wired to run and protect the paint, but even Kuminga can spot the open rookie. This is the modern NBA at its finest, where Richard looks like an unconscious Klay Thompson on the break and launches his 3. There you guys have it. Despite the loss on the second night of a back-to-back, the Warriors might have found something real in rookie Will Richard. In his first NBA start, after barely touching the floor the night before, he came out and dropped 30 points, playing with the kind of poise and hustle you don't usually see from a rookie. He knocked down shots, played within the system, and competed on both ends like he's been in the league for years. Every time the game started to slip, Will made a play to keep the Warriors back in control. Nights like this builds trust, and Steve Kerr is going to remember that. He reminds me of a young but more mature Jordan Poole with an even higher defensive upside. Big night for the rookie who seemed to be a huge second round steal and maybe the start of something special. If you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.